Alrighty, everybody, and welcome to this episode of the Dan Dawson Show. Why expose the hypocrisy of the far left? I never intended for this to be a far right show. But when you get involved in stuff like this and you start looking around, you start seeing the hypocrisy, right? The hypocrisy. Remember how many Democrat mayors, Cuomo, Lightfoot, and you're going to hear that name again, so locked all of New York down. Said no, go and get your hair cut or anything like that. Both of them went to get their hair cut during the pandemic. And I do believe Lori Lightfoot's excuse was, I'm a public figure, I have to look good. I've seen your hair, there's nothing you can do to that to make you look good. I've seen your face, there's really nothing you can do for that. But here's another bout of hypocrisy that you won't see in mainstream media. And if you're a proponent of the Second Amendment and you vote Democrat, I'm sorry, I don't know what to say for you, because their hypocrisy reaches beyond leaps and bounds. So Lori Lightfoot has ordered the Chicago police to immediately arrest any demonstrator in her neighborhood. Any protester, even if they're peacefully protesting. And she justifies it by saying she has a right for her home to be safe. This is the same woman that's ripping away the Second Amendment, that wants to get rid of it. She doesn't think you have a right to protect your home. Your family doesn't have a right to be safe. You don't even have a right to go get a haircut if she says you can't. But she can do all those things. See, it's the hypocrisy of the left. Because they communicate with emotion and people fall for it. And I did that in my bathroom special edition video. But people fall for it and they go for it. And it's like, oh yeah, and Black Lives Matter and blah, blah. But when it moves into their neighborhood, things change. The mayor here in Seattle did the same thing. When they came to her doorstep, she stopped it immediately. So why aren't they stopping it for the rest of the city? Because they don't care if your family's safe and protected. That's why they don't want you to have gun rights. They care about their power. And you having gun rights is a threat to their power. Tucker Carlson called it beautifully. He was interviewing Representative Swalwell, who was running for president at the time. And they were talking about gun control. And Tucker asked him, he's like, hold up, I've been to your office. You have the Capitol Hill police, your bodyguards, they are his bodyguards. They're not there to protect me with AR-15, so why can't my wife have an AR-15 at home? And Eric Swalwell jumped all around, well, they're police, and it's like, no, they're your bodyguards, Tucker is absolutely right. They are the bodyguards for the elected officials. Like, look right now, Lori Lightfoot's using the Chicago PD as her personal bodyguards. While she's moving to defund them, while she's taking law-abiding citizens only means of self-defense. Stop falling for this hypocrisy. The hypocrisy is real. It's real, and it's ridiculous. I mean, you have Swalwell, all these people, they have personal bodyguards. Guess what their personal bodyguards are armed with? Guns. But I can't carry a gun to protect my wife. And so Swalwell keeps yapping throughout the video, they're trained, they're police, they're trained, they're police, they're trained. I know guys who I would put up any day in a shooting contest. Go to the range, you send me 5 Capitol Hill police officers, I'll pick 5 of my competition buddies, and we'll all go to the range and see who outshoots who. See who's better at tactical movement. So it doesn't really fly. But here's also my point. You don't have to have been a former medic and having been to combat zones and all that to want to protect your family. So with Democrats telling you you do not have a right to protect your family with an AR-15. And they say, why do you need 30 rounds? You don't need 30 rounds to hunt. It's not about hunting. It's about when those 5, 6 guys break into my house in the middle of the night, and I have 5 rounds for each of them. It's really gotten out of control. Strong Second Amendment. I'm from Texas. Most of us are, except for Francis, who grew up rich, very rich, and has always had personal protection. Not like those of us who have to go around the society that the Democrats have created, these drug-infested cities, with the homeless and druggies and the mentally ill in the street who wish to do us harm, with no protection. they would have you protect yourself, I guess, with a toothpick. Because they don't really care. They don't really care. People feed into it. It's like you can't get past that little stuck point in your mind where you can't see these people don't care about me. I had a conversation with a former friend of mine years ago. My daughter was young, I worked night shift. I trained her. I am a licensed trainer to fire a firearm, to use a firearm. And so she kept her firearm with her, and he's like, oh, no, you shouldn't have guns in the house, and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, hold up. I won't tell you what I called him. Like, so if somebody breaks in my house and kills my daughter, and she has no means of defending herself, I'm the one sitting on the front row, so you don't tell me what to do in my house. And that's the stance we need to take with Democrats right now. Stay the hell out of my house. I will keep anything in my house I need to defend myself and my family, and it's not your damn business. Because I don't have access to bodyguards. There's no bodyguards running around here, except for my very handy Glock 19, big Glock guy. But I don't have bodyguards running around. I don't have bodyguards that escort my wife to the store. You see, and that's the difference. They don't really care. Look at their policy. Look at their policies. Defund the police. Who's that going to hurt? It's not going to hurt them, because Lori Lightfoot just showed you. I mean, Chicago's defunding the police. But she just showed you. She can make a phone call and have cops block off her block because she's the mayor. You know, raise your taxes. It's not going to affect them. They're public servants. They're already making buckos of money, and I guarantee they have accountants that are going to offset that. If you're the average person and you don't have an accountant to offset that, that's going to affect you, right? The whole, it's just so much hypocrisy. Sorry, people, I'm getting mad. I'm trying not to let that anger come through, because I don't believe in speaking from an emotional place. Speak from a logic place. So, funding for illegal immigrants, that's going to raise your taxes. Not legal immigrants, illegal immigrants. So you're going to be sending checks to MS-13 members. Good luck with that. Or no, my favorite, no wall, no wall. Well, if you've ever been on that border, and I grew up in South Texas, so I've seen that border with my own two eyes. You saw what came through that border. You wouldn't want a wall. You would want to check everything that comes through that border. They won't even muster a word against child exploitation and child rape. Well, that's probably because most of them are on Epstein's Island. It's just gotten ridiculous. We have to watch out for it as a people. Don't trust the mainstream media, because I scroll down. As most of you who watch my show know, I have the Microsoft News app. Not one word about Lori Lightfoot's treachery. Not one word. Not one word. She has the right to go get haircuts. Oh, they do have a nice article about Cardi B's interview with Joe Biden. Which, the way she talks, if that's your black representation, I need to find some skin dye, because that's ridiculous. We have to get rid of people like that. We have to propel people like Candace Owens, March Tahar, people like that, Officer Tatum, people like that, because the amazing Lucas, black people like that, the Hodge twins, because you're letting the Democrat system, the Democrat Socialist Party, run the same policies as the Nazi Party. Socialism, take your guns, defund police, close prisons, push racial divide. That is the Democrat platform. That's why they support Black Lives Matter. That's exactly what Black Lives Matter does. They push racial divide, making one group of people the enemy. I don't know why you would make it white people. I went for, a less number of, I would went for a minority group. I mean, they made a mistake there. But I guess it's just low-hanging fruit. But, and then it's funny, because they'll tell you, white people are evil. Vote for me, this white person. It's really, really insane. I don't know how people are falling for it. But that's the hypocrisy. I have the right, as a Democratic mayor, to make sure my block is safe, my neighborhood is safe. You don't as a tax-paying citizen. Ask yourself the question, why don't I? So here's what I'm going to do on this one. In the comments below, whether you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, remember I have both, right? So subscribe to one, like the other. If you can give me a good reason why, if you want to defend your home, you shouldn't have any weapon available to you to defend that home. Because these robberies aren't happening. It's not like the old days where you get the one burglar coming through. Now they're coming through. I saw one video, 9 people came in. Luckily, the guy did have an AR-15 and started blasting away. But if you can tell me why you shouldn't be allowed to be armed and protect your family, then put it in the comments below. But don't trust these hypocritical, almost said a bad word, hypocritical politicians who don't think you and your family should be armed, who honestly don't care about your life. So thank you for watching this episode of the Dan Dawson Show. And don't trust the mainstream media. You need to get on, if you don't want to belong to Tucker Carlson. I think most of my viewers probably are right-wing now and probably already on Tucker Carlson. Tim Pool, because that's originally where I saw it at, about the Lori Lightfoot thing. So go to shows like that, the Hodge Twins, stuff like that. Because the mainstream media, I'm telling you, I'm scrolling through, and there's not even a mention of it. And that's pretty damn important to us Second Amendment citizens. But they're going to hide the news from you. I don't think, I need to touch on that because I think we all know that. So like I said, thank you for watching this episode of the Dan Dawson Show. Protect your Second Amendment rights. Vote Republican. Vote Trump. MAGA 2020.